The race for what becomes Nigeria's next Senate president seems to have been narrowed down to the southeast and the south-south geopolitical zones of the country. Some media reports this week has even gone ahead to call it, claiming that the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has settled for former Akwa Ibom State Governor, Senator Godswill Akpabio as Senate President and Senator Jibril Baro as Deputy Senate President in the 10th National Assembly. Well, we are now being joined by Honorable Eseme Eyibo, a former member of the House of Representatives, for discussion around this subject. Good to have you today. And
I'm glad to be with you.
Honorable, I would like to start it off. First of all, the reports making the rounds is that President-elect has settled for Senator Godswill Akpabio as Senate President, and it's looking like power will be shifting to the South in terms of the hierarchies in the National Assembly. What do you make of this?
Well, I can tell you that you said it's a rumor making rounds. Rather, to me, that sounds like a foretold prophecy, because both the Nigerian leaders, Nigerian electorates, and everybody are desirous of having a National Assembly, particularly a Senate, that will act as a connecting rod to jumpstart, the engine of governance in this country. We have been very, very aware that in the past, there has always been a mix of politics and governance. Now that we are having the right man on the throne as the president-elect, soon to be sworn in on May 29, and the vice president, we also need a Senate president, of course, the leadership of the National Assembly that will be able to enthrone governance, that will bring the derivatives of democratic governance to the people of Nigeria. So I am good with it. And it's not just a speculation. It is also important to bring to the table who a Senate president should not be and who a Senate president should be. And of course, also the leadership of the House of Representatives. Time permitting us, I would like to say clearly that the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, has the pedigree, he has the experience, he has all what it takes, he has a desire. In fact, his hunger for development could be reflected in his pedigree and antecedent when he was a governor of Akwa Ibom State, when he was a Senate president, when he was a minister for Niger Delta. In each of these public service milestones, he has exhibited maturity, he has exhibited the willingness to be able to galvanize the strength of the people of Nigeria or the respective people within his areas of jurisdiction. So as a Senate president, I am foreseeing a Senate whereby we will be able to attend to the constitutional requirement, the constitutional prescription of welfare and the security to the people, because sovereignty belongs to the people. So that speculation of Akpabio emerging as the Senate president, of course, is a foretold prophecy for the Nigerian people.
Very good, Honorable Eyibo. Now, I would like you to give us an idea how the lobbying and selection will occur in the race for the president's position at the Red Chamber. You were also a member of the House of Representatives. Can you give us an idea from your experience regarding such subject matter?
First and foremost, there has been this misunderstanding on the issue of ranking. A lot of people are showing interest in assuming the presidency or deputy or speaker or deputy speaker. That has been going on in the public domain. The first thing is, I want to lay a background so that some of us will use this as a part of the public education on how the legislature operates. Section 60 of the Constitution empowers the National Assembly to make for itself, the rules that will be able to regulate its proceedings and conduct. That is the standing order for both the Senate and House of Representatives. And the issue of ranking, which is put there, originates and of course forms the fulcrum of that standing order. Then Section 50 of the Constitution, sub 1A, states that the president and the deputy president of the Senate shall be elected within its members, meaning that you must have been a senator before you are qualified first to contest. So if you are a senator-elect, you have not been admitted to the oath of the legislature, and you cannot contest to become a Senate president or deputy Senate president. For the purpose of this discussion and generally, it's also important to note that the Senate president is the person to preside over the affairs of the House, and it is the Senate president who will swear in the other senators-elect. So ranking means a returning senator or a returning member of the House of Representatives. And that is the only person by the rule, by the standing order, who is qualified within this prescription. So anybody who is a senator-elect and is not ranking cannot contest. And if he does that, he's acting in breach of the extant law. So clearly, the issue that we are talking about, by the time we resume, or by the time they resume, sorry to use the word we resume, by the time they resume, you are going to see plethora of intrigues, which is normal and democratic, people from various divisions. But what I want you to know here is that there are whole numbers of people in APC who left the party to go and pick the ticket in other political parties like the Labour, like the SDP, like the PDP, and the rest of it. And the intention was just to pick the ticket and test their popularity. But that does not take away their spirit as members of APC. So these people, during the election of the Senate president and the deputy Senate president, who are the presiding officers, the chicken will definitely come back to roost. So what we are counting now on the basis of the returns on INEC, the number will definitely swell. If APC is having 56, is having 60, you will be shocked that those who will vote for an APC president of the Senate will be almost 85 to 90, because most of the persons who were in APC then migrated to the other parties. They didn't go with that spirit. That spirit is still in APC. 2, the candidate, in this case, Akpabio, God willing, has the ability to galvanize and weld together the various diversities. He is a Nigerian, he's a unifier, and he is known. He has a track record, he has a pedigree and experience. So that personality is going to be attractive to the extent that those who will say no will be in the minority, and then who will say yes are going to be in majority. Like I've earlier said, Akpabio remains a connecting rod to the unity and, of course, the governance of this country. And his leadership will be able to give sufficient steam, collaboration, without necessarily compromising the legislature in this dispensation. And Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is going to have the best and the robust National Assembly ever envisaged by any Nigerian in a democratic setting.
All right, we'll be looking. Let's see how that one plays out. Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself being a former senator. But now the question that I would like to throw your way has to be, what are the criteria to choose a Senate president, or what should not be a criteria, rather, maybe let me ask an anti-question. What should not be a criteria to choose the Senate president? Because several governors have actually come out to say that since Senator Akpabio had supported Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his bid to become the president, being the first man to step down for Bola Ahmed Tinubu during the primaries of the APC, and all he contributed, he should be given that particular seat as against an Ojus Okalu, for example, from the southeast, who they claim contributed little to the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect. So you look at it, and I put it side by side. Should we be based on the contribution to the emergence of a president-elect, or should it be based solely on competence? Because right now, those advancing the arguments for Godswill Akpabio are saying based on his share contribution as against any other criteria on the table.
Okay, that's fine. But let me let you be aware of this fact. The strength of any political party or the supremacy of any political party is on the basis of its reward system to its members. And being so, what has been the contribution of members to the strength and the progress of the political party, in this case, APC in particular? APC was on a life support in Akwa Ibom State. Akwa Ibom is predominantly a PDP state. It was on a life support. But Senator Godswill Akpabio brought oxygen to APC in Akwa Ibom State. That was why Akwa Ibom State is able, as we speak, to produce a senator, an APC senator-elect, and 2 members of the House of Representatives. And we had more than 27% for the presidential election. If you put that side by side, by maybe take it southeast, for example, where His Excellency, distinguished Senator Ojus Okalu is angling to be, he has brought nothing to the table. The total number, the election of the Senate, National Assembly and Presidency took place the same day and the same time. But look at the total number of votes from the southeast, the total number of votes from the southeast. The total number of votes in Akwa Ibom State was over 27%. It's more than the total number of votes from the southeast. I can tell you that. Then beyond that, Southeast have consistently been on top on the table for Senate leadership. During from Ebonyi State, the former SG Pius Anyim was the Senate president. From Anambra State, the Oyi of Oyi, Dr. Chupa Okaribo was the Senate president. From Enugu State, my boss, my Oga, Senator Ken Namani, was a Senate president. From Abia State, we had Adolfo Nwabara. From Imo State, we had Evans Ewere. So Senate presidency had successfully taught the 5 states of the Southeast. So it would be very wrong on the basis of reward, on the basis of justice and fairness, for you to ever think that the Senate presidency should go back to the Southeast. And that Southeast, for 8 years, also had the deputy Senate president. Like in the Constitution of Section 50, which I cited, there are 2 presiding officers. If the Senate president is not there, is the deputy Senate president. So they had this deputy Senate president consistently for 8 years in the person of distinguished Senator Ikem Ekweremadu. So I think for fairness, it should come to South-South for fairness and justice. I think for the issue of the supremacy of the party, which has to do with a reward system, it should go to Akpabio. In terms of experience and integrity and where we are as a nation now, I think Akpabio is a connecting rod to be able to clear the doubt of an average Nigerian on the legitimacy of government. And the legitimacy of government in this case, like is espoused in Section 4 sub 1 of the Nigerian Constitution, it said the legislative powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall rest in a Senate and a House of Representatives. What this therefore means that in the root of our rule of law, in the root of our democracy is the legislature. So we expect a Senate president who will be able to will together for the advantage and the benefit of Nigerian people, a National Assembly. Of course, the Senate president is the chairman of the National Assembly. Will be able to will together the strength of the members and produce and opt, the issue of the asset, the human asset in the National Assembly. The members need that level of the presidency. Then lastly, I must also let you be aware that His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is an enterprise development manager. And he requires people who will be able to understand. He requires a National Assembly that will be able to understand where he is coming from, his anger to change the narrative. The trajectory of this country when it comes to democracy will have to change. He understands the feelings of an average Nigerian. He's ready, he is willing, he is able, but he cannot do it alone because of the issue of the 3 arms of government. So I think Akpabio fifth bill.
Now, let's talk about an issue making the rounds regarding newcomers also angling for leadership positions in the House of Assembly. You already alluded to processes one has to go through, rules and regulations, as it were. But the impression being given right now is that probably they're not aware of these rules. So can you give us an insight regarding that? Newcomers, newly elected representatives.
Yeah, I can give you an example. Akpabio became a minority leader of the House as a newcomer. And people are using that as an example. That is not correct. What happens is this. By that section 50 of the Constitution, the presiding officers of the House of Rep and Senate is the president of the Senate if he's not around, the deputy Senate president. The Speaker of the House of Rep, if he's not around, the Deputy Speaker. Those are the presiding officers. While the Senate President swears in senators-elect, the Speaker swears in members-elect. So for a new member to look forward to become a presiding officer, it cannot happen because at the time of the election of the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker or Deputy Speaker, he's not yet a senator. He has not yet been sworn in. He has not yet been sworn in. But because he has not yet been sworn in, he cannot act or pretend to be looking for that position. But the other issues, when Akpabio was made minority leader, Akpabio was already a senator, sitting senator. He was already in chambers. So the minority caucus of PDP then now elected him amongst themselves to be the minority leader. It was presented to the House. Then the rules then was suspended for him to be admitted. It was just a suspension of the rule. So that's the difference here. But he could not have, as a member then, as a senator-elect then, opted to contest to become a Senate president. It's not possible. So if somebody who is not yet a senator is a senator-elect, pretending to canvass to become a senator, he's pretending, because the matter will be tested in the court. It's a clear distinction. So most of the people who are looking for Senate presidency or Speaker of the House or whatever, any of those positions, are just trying to be democratic, putting up campaigns. Then when the game is up, they want to choose other positions in the House, committee chairman, the leader of the party, and all of that. They could be considered. But for those two positions, presiding officers, that's not possible.
Very, very good. On that note, we will be looking at such scenarios in the few weeks to come. I'd like to thank you, Honorable Eseme Eyibo, former member, House of Representatives. Good to have you on Newsday. Thank you for your thoughts.